Decisions, decisions, decisions. How important is the decisions attribute on Football Manager? Well, today we're going to test this out with a full squad of wonderkids as usual, and they've only got one for their decision making. Will this be catastrophic, or will it make no difference whatsoever? We'll find out. Let's jump in. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with Gateshead, as you can see here. Decisions at 1. As usual, if you're new around here, this is the way we usually set up. 90 current ability, 200 potential ability. They've got a future transfer to Saudi Arabia in 2045. And yeah, they've all been mid-journeyed up, have the squad. A couple of them will probably be in the under 18s. One is, as you see there, 1 for decisions. And again, as I say, we've seen it here. 1 for decisions all the way through the entire squad. In terms of the profile of the club, they've got a transfer ban until 2045, so no new players can come in during this experiment unless they're through the youth team. Now, what's unique about today's experiment with this squad breakdown attribute thing? We've actually given Gateshead all those good players, yet they are managerless on the game. So we haven't actually got a manager in situ at the start of this, so they're going to have to hire someone before we even get things rocking and rolling. Now, will that have a detrimental effect or a positive effect? We will see. In terms of the Vanarama National League, the media do think Gateshead are going to win the league, despite the fact that not one player is in the media Dream 11. Well, can they win the league? Who will they hire as manager? 2 questions that we will be answering in 2024. Well, they did win the league, didn't they? 101 points to 82. Wayne Brown has come in and been in charge. I'm sure Wayne Brown's been knocking around in a previous experiment. Wayne Brown has taken them up to League 2. They won by 19 points at a canter in the end, to be perfectly honest. 81 goals in terms of the award winners. Centre forward 1 was the top goal scorer with 20. And Wayne Brown plays a 4-2-3-1 system. Fits the players that we've got for the formation perfectly. In terms of the senior squad, well, yeah, I thought this might happen. A hell of a lot of improvement in the decision-making attributes. And as you can see, if we look at the current abilities, 120 for Gateshead centre-back 2, and they're all over 100. And everyone's gone, well, centre-back 4 has not improved, actually, but everyone's improved to a couple of them at 2, most of them at 3 and 4. There's the odd one, just one at 5, which is Gateshead right back 1. So that's after 1 season. Realistically, after like 4 or 5 seasons, they're probably going to be in the double figures for decision making. So decision making is an attribute that appears to improve massively as your player improves. So it's not the end of the world if you've got low decision making, I would have thought at the beginning. So, you know, food for thought, isn't it? Well, it's 1 to 91 in terms of the odds and the season preview for Gateshead to win League 2. Most of the players in the Media Dream 11 are Gateshead players. Stephen Session for Wigan is at left back. He's at 116, so maybe the left back's not quite made it to 116 yet. I'm sure he will do during the course of the season, but they'll be out of this league at the end of the season, almost certainly. So let's go through to 2025 and see if they did get promoted. Yeah, the media were correct. 112 points for Gateshead with 87 goals, beating Wigan, who finished in second place, who won 84 points. That's 12 plus 16. That's 28 points they've won the league by. Bloody hell. Fair play to him. Wayne Brown, of course, still in charge. Centre forward 1, again, getting top goal score, finishing ahead of Paul Mullin for Wrexham by 4 goals. Got 25 all season, did centre forward 1. In terms of the players, well, look at this. They really are moving through the gears. I mean, centre back 5 is still at 1. He's at 95 out of 200. Everybody else is in the 1-teens. At least they've got 5 players in the 1-teens and everybody else in the 120s except 4 who've made it to the 130s. We've got 4 players who've got over 5 in terms of their decision making. Quite a few players on 5. By the time we come back again in 2026, I would have thought that over half the squad will probably be having a white attribute here for decision making, and some will be marching on towards a yellow attribute. By that point, they'll be pretty good, won't they? Season preview 1 to 91 once again. Bindon, but Reading is actually in the Media Dream 11. How good's he? 126. Just sneaks in there. Just sneaks in there indeed. So on we move to 2026. And while I do that, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, they're doing it again. 27 points this time. It's still much of a muchness. They're just absolutely flying through the leagues here. No top goal scorer though. Gateshead winger 4 on 17. They really shared the goals around, to be fair. They did score 87. in total. Wayne Brown, of course, is still there. They're in the championship now. They've got players in the 140s, 130s, 120s, loads in the loads with over 5 decision making. As said, we're going to be closing in on a yellow attribute. Maybe not by the time of the end of next season, but we're very close. Very close. We are in the championship. The season preview says 8 to 11 to win the league. Wolves, Leeds and Nottingham Forest are all up there in with a shout, so it's not going to be as much of a formality as it has been up to this point, but it has been a formality up to this point. And it makes me think that decision making, whilst it's improved greatly across the board, not the be all and end all in terms of an attribute, because none of the players were in the Media Dream 11 in the Vanarama National League, and then they walked that at a canter. And they've subsequently walked every league since. Can they walk the championship? Well, let's go to 2027 and find that out. Well, they did not manage to go up. They lost in the playoffs. It was Wolves, Forest and Leeds who did go up. Gateshead finished in 3rd. They were 1 point away from automatic promotion. Leeds won in the final against Ipswich. Gateshead lost 3-2 on aggregate to Leeds. They did win 2-1 in the second leg. Unfortunately, it was not good enough because they'd lost 2-0 in the first leg. Gateshead did win on the final day of the season. I wanted to see where they threw it away, to be honest. I'm not going to torture ourselves too much, though, to be fair. 19 for Gateshead forward 1, finishing 3rd in the top goal scorer charts as well. So, yeah, a bit disappointing, really, if you're a Gateshead fan. You're thinking going to go straight up. I mean, no yellow attribute points for decision making yet. We're about there, though. Everyone's got over 5 now, except the bottom 3. These aren't really playing. Sub goalkeeper and 2 centre backs who are very clearly not playing. Look at this. You've got 162 for Gateshead goalkeeper 1. Has he been capped yet? No, he hasn't been capped by England, which is a travesty. Thomas Frank's in charge of England. Where's Ralph? I hear you ask. Is it Bristol City? Well, Ralph. He was at Wolves till 2026. He must have got sacked by Wolves for getting relegated. Oh no, poor league position. So before they got relegated. He did get relegated with Wolves though, and he got promoted as well. Fair play. Go on, Ralph. No caps at all for anyone, actually, up to this point. But how many in the 150s? Surely the Media Dream 11 is going to have loads of them. It is, and it's 1 to 20 in terms of the odds. I do like those odds. I think they're going to go up as champions. If they don't go up as champions, they've got to go up, surely, right? You'd think so. 2028 then. And they did by 9 points. So they didn't get over 100 points, but you don't need to get over 100 points. 97 points is more than enough to go up and win the league. And for the second season in a row, the team finishing in 6th has actually been promoted via the playoffs. Fair play to Sunderland this season and Leeds last season. Well, Wayne Brown, of course, is still in charge. He's absolutely loving life. And we've got Gateshead goalkeeper 1 at 170. Loads in the 150s. They've stagnated somewhat in terms of their decision making, though. 11 for Gateshead left back 2. And he's the only one who's actually got a yellow attribute. I'm sure I would have thought someone else would have managed to get there, but they're 22 years old now. And whilst we've flown through the leagues, are we starting to hit a little bit of stagnation? Is decision making not as important in the early years, but maybe as they get into their early 20s when their jump stops in terms of their current ability growth? Does that stop? Pause a bit? Is decision making that important? Can't quite tell at this moment in time, but what we can tell is we've got lots of players in the 150s, and the Media Dream 11 are expecting Gateshead to not only stay up, finish in the top half. In terms of the Premier League then, Arsenal have won it 2 times in the last 3 years. Mikel Arteta is still in charge. They've also won a Champions League. Pep's still at City. Klopp still at Liverpool? No, he's not. Klopp left the manager role to go and become the manager of Portugal after a year off. Erik ten Hag won't still be at United. No, Zidane is at United. He won a Champions League. He won a Champions League in 2024. Mental. Can they stay up? I'd have thought so. 2029, here we come. And look at that. 5th in their first season in the Premier League, Gateshead. 5th, getting Champions League football. Aston Villa also getting Champions League football from 10th. They've just won the Europa League. Man United have won the league. It was Burnley, Southampton and Sunderland who've gone down. But look at that. For the first season in the Premier League finishing in 5th, they've done phenomenally well. Wayne Brown, of course, is still in charge. No one's ever going to sack him. We've finally got some caps knocking about over here for England, and they've moved up massively from the 150s. We've got loads in the 170s and 160s. Gateshead goalkeeper 1 is in the 180s. And we've got quite a few who've got yellow attributes for decisions. And we've got quite a few on 10 as well. That's probably going to go up over this season. They really have kicked on. Any of those players in the Media Dream 11? Surely the goalkeeper. Yeah, the goalkeeper is. Hey, Pedri's gone to United. 49 million. Bloody hell. What a bargain. 49 million. They've just bought him. As champions, he's never even played for them. He must have been running out of his contract. So the Media Dream 11, just the one player. Florian Wirtz is at Arsenal. Jamal Musiala's at Man City. How much did he go for? £266 million, as you do. When did they buy him? A couple of years ago. That's a transfer, isn't it? Florian Wirtz went for 94 million. For anyone who cares. Sixth, the media think Gateshead are going to be level with Newcastle in terms of the odds. 20-1. I'd say better than sixth. Top 4, guaranteed. You heard it here first. I'm going to say top 3. 2030, here we come. So, as predicted, just before we jumped forward, I guaranteed we'd finish in the top 5. I'm sure you'll remember that. So, then they did finish top 5. So, a very apt prediction. Man City won the league, Arsenal in second, Liverpool down in third, United dropping down to fourth, having won the league the previous season. In terms of trophies, well, the FA Cup has been won this season by Gateshead, the first trophy for us, and it's the third time in a row we've been in the final, losing to Villa and then Manchester City in consecutive seasons. Not getting to the Carabao Cup final at all. How do we do in the Champions League? Maiden season. Round of 16, losing to PSG. I'm sure Kylian Mbappe had something to do with it. He did. The 31-year-old, still world class, still phenomenal. 197 current ability. Madness. In terms of the players, we've got loads of over 10 in decision making now. So the decision making is pretty good for the whole squad. And as you can see, loads of the players are over the 170s. But look at that jump. We've got Gateshead winger 3 at 160. And then the rest who are not playing lows, all sub-merchants, I'd say, all in the 140s and 130s. And then we're jumping up to the 170s and 180s. Now, this 11 is good enough to win the league, but the squad is not. That's what's important. You need good players on the bench. And unfortunately, they've not played them enough to make enough well-rounded players from the bench. In terms of the Premier League, 5th 2 seasons in a row, the media now think they're going to finish 3rd. Well, got 4 of the back 5 in the Media Dream 11. Only Josko Gvardiol is in there, who's not from Gateshead. Kvaratskhelia has gone to Arsenal. 80 million last season. One season he's been there. Wow, some big signings last season. Pedri for United. Kvaratskhelia at Arsenal. So yeah, we've got... And looking over the players now, we've got quite a few who are over 180, 190s. We've got one at over 190, quite a few over 180s and 170s. We're going to jump 5 years now. The 3 5-year jumps is upon us. 2035, 2040, 2045 are the 3 jumps. There'll be 29 when we come back in 2035. Some of these players will be up at 200. I would dare say we've probably had a couple of league title wins by then, if not more. Let's go to 2035 and see how those 5 years fare for Gateshead. So they were 5th. Could they advance on 5th? And they did. They matched what the media thought they'd do. They finished in 3rd, which is fantastic. It's a step in the right direction. The following season, they won it by 5 points ahead of Manchester City. Who won it the season before? Man United were back up on top by beating Arsenal by a point. And what we did is the following season on 86 points, we would have won it the season previous on that amount of points because Man United won it with 85. Chelsea getting Champions League football from 8th. That's a Europa League or Champions League win for them. And Ange Postecoglou is at Chelsea. How long's he been there? Over 2 years. 2032. So how Chelsea got in the Champions League? How? They lost to Liverpool in the final. Wow. Liverpool already won the Champions League. Already in the Champions League. From the league qualification. So Chelsea have got it. I've never seen that often. Fair enough. Luis Enrique is now at Manchester City because Pep got sacked. They sacked him after 17 years. Mental. Anyway, Gateshead, league title in the 32 season, and then they finished down in 4th. Disappointing. 7 points off the pace. And Tottenham out of nowhere have won it. 4 points clear of Gateshead. Gateshead get the second league title, winning by 4 points from Manchester City. 92 points in the 34-35 season. And they are the current Premier League champions. Season preview says Gateshead are odds on to win it 2-1. Wayne Brown is still in charge. And look at that. 4 at 200, 3 at 199, 2 at 198. And then we jump down from 185 to 163 to 149. So bar Gateshead winger 3, if you take them out, We're talking 36 attribute points separate the starting 11 and the subs bench. It's not good enough, really. That's why they've only won 2 leagues. Any other trophies? 2 Carabao Cups. Who have they beat? United and Liverpool. No more FA Cups. 3 Champions Leagues, though, beating Arsenal twice and Bayern Munich once. They've won more Champions Leagues than they have Premier Leagues. They've won more Champions Leagues than they have Carabao Cups. They've won more Champions Leagues than they have FA Cups. 2 Premier Leagues, an FA Cup, and 2 Carabao Cups. 5 trophies. 3 Champions Leagues. So 8 trophies overall for Wayne Brown. Mental. Let's go to 2040, see how things are moving on, because, as you can see, the decisions has moved up quite nicely. They're not going to improve much more. They're 29. They're going to actually they will actually have gone down in their ability by the time we come back. So let's jump to 2040, see how they're getting on. I'm expecting some more league titles. And there we were, as league champions in the following season, down in third again, 5 points off the pace. Tottenham actually beating City on goal difference. Who's in charge of Tottenham? Vincent Kompany. He's been there for 11 years. And look at that, 3 league wins and 9 cup wins. He's fantastic as Vincent Kompany on this game. He does ever so well with whoever he's at. Anyway, third for Gateshead. Then we won the league again by 10 points ahead of Spurs. And again, oh, look at that. Spurs on 69 points. Gateshead, 22 points clear in first. Unbelievable. And then we lost the league by 4 points the following season. And again, fourth. Oh, 9 points off the pace. So 4 Premier Leagues, 4 FA Cups, as you can see here, 3 in a row. Sheffield United v Fulham, most recently, in the final. Another Carabao Cup, 2 more Champions Leagues, beating Man City in the final twice. So we've got more Champions Leagues than any other trophy. Again, I find it hilarious. Wayne Brown is a legend, debatable. Look at that, the decision making has improved massively, and we've got quite a few. We've got 3 in green now on 16. Some of them are depreciating and losing the decision making process, unfortunately. Lots still in the 190s and high 180s. We've got 5 more years to go. Will they stay in the Premier League? I think their trophy winning days might be behind them. They might have one more season where they might do it, but I think they're going to start to fall away quite drastically. So, could they win it in one more time? Third. 2 points off the pace, and that's probably going to be it. They won't finish this high again. 1 point away, finishing second. Surely not. Surely not. Now, there we go. Down in 5th. Still qualified for the Champions League, though, in 2042-43. And then down in 15th. Wow, well, there we go. Wayne Brown's just been sacked. Let me tell you that for free. Wayne Brown has been sacked. And, oh, look at that. Bottom by 8 points. Well, relegated by 8 points, should I say. Bottom by 6 points. And they've just been relegated in the Championship for the first time. Harry Winks is in charge. No more trophies in those 5 years. The players, they've held on to their decision making, really. Decisions has not really depreciated, despite the fact that loads has. It's all about the physicals, though, isn't it? Physicals depreciating at that age. Physicals, dribbling, a few other bits and pieces. So, yeah, I wouldn't expect some of the mentals to drop down. I actually expect some of the mentals to go up. As you can see, loads of caps over here. Gateshead goalkeeper 1 with 195. Speaking of caps, Steven Gerrard is in charge of England. 4 World Cups in total, 3 of them in the experiment in a row, 2030, 34 and 38. And I'm sure the Gateshead squad were in there. And 2024 didn't have anyone in there, but in 2032 they would have done as well. 2030, that's when they started to bring a few players through, wasn't it? It was. Almost certainly. Gateshead Cam, there you go. So a couple of the players were in there. Not loads. Gateshead centre forward. Gateshead Cam, yeah, so a few had, and then the following tournaments they would have had loads in there, of course. Because as you can see, we've got caps for days over here. Over 100 caps for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players, and 3 players over 90. That's impressive. And then the next lowest is someone on 4. Wayne Brown does not rotate his squad much, does he? That's what we've learned from this today's experiment. Wayne Brown. In terms of club legends, Wayne Brown is there. He just retired, and understandably so. I bet he got plenty of money. He was at Gateshead for 18 years. He won everything there was to win. He was never going to go anywhere further. So why not just retire? Great facilities for Gateshead. They've got £891 million in the bank, plus £25 million per player, so about £500 million coming in the next few days. So, as always, let's go and see if they can recover and become a dominating force with the money that is left behind. Before we do that, look at the golden ball and all that jazz. Gateshead Winger 4 won a couple of golden balls. Player of the year. Gateshead Winger 4. This guy's had a career then, hasn't he? Look at him. He's still good at this age. The only player to win anything for them. Football of the year. Oh, Gateshead Winger 1 snuck one, but Gateshead Winger 4 did get 2. Surely the World Team of the Year all seasons. Gateshead. Whoa. Look at that. Erling Haaland is a number 10. Don't see that very often. Mbappe on one wing. The rest of them, excuse me, got something in my throat then. All Gateshead. Then quite a few Man City players on the bench. Jude Bellingham snuck himself in there. One Jude. He went to Arsenal after Real Madrid. Regen Sam Delaney's also in there. But yeah, loads of City players and the rest of them just Gateshead. So I've never seen one that dominant. For a team that only won the Champions League 5 times and the Premier League 4 times, usually when a team does better than that, they still don't have that many players in the Media Dream 11, so unusual. Anyway, on we move to see if they can become a European powerhouse once again. Coming forward 14 years to 2059. And, well, looking at the Premier League, they're not there. The past winners of the Premier League have been United, Arsenal, and all that. Gateshead are 3rd in the Championship, so how have they done? Down into the Championship they went. They went down into League One, finishing bottom, and then they spent a few seasons in League One, recovered, got into the Championship, recovered well over a few years, built themselves back up, got themselves into the Premier League, survived, went down. They've just finished 3rd in the Championship, where they lost to West Brom in the semi-finals. They've still got nearly £300 million in the bank, but unfortunately, they're not doing very well. I mean, they've got some good players, but they're just Championship quality. I'd expect more. I mean, look at this guy, 144. He's on 205k a week. This guy on 151, £275,000 a week in the Championship. Like, how are you paying? Why are you paying people this much? 139 for Luis Gonçalves, unhappy. Wants to leave due to the club getting relegated. Well, you've been relegated for over a year, mate. Transfer listed. No one's coming in for you at that price because you're not that good. No one wants to pay £30-odd million for you, even though Gateshead paid 25.5. You're 29 years old and you're on nearly 300k a week. And let me tell you now, if you go in for him, he's probably going to want like a pay rise to go back up the leagues. Never mind like a 200 grand pay cut. Deary me. They've absolutely spunked all their money and not done anything good with it. And not won any more trophies, so it's been a bit of a shambles. But decisions, how important is it? Well, I guess not very, because they did pretty well without it. But will they do better with it? Well, of course, we will be back to do max decisions at a later date. But in the meantime, subscribe to the channel, like the video, watch this. That's going to pop up around your heads. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.